In the ever-evolving world of military technology, the U.S. Navy has just launched a super warship valued at up to $100 billion. This is not just an ordinary ship, but a technological marvel at sea, representing the strength and defense potential of the United States. With superior combat capabilities and state-of-the-art equipment, this supership promises to change the landscape of naval warfare in the future. It is not only the pride of America, but also evidence of the remarkable progress of the global defense industry. Let's explore and list how it has surpassed other ships to stand in the first position. Also, let's examine the boldness and astonishment of carrying such a huge price tag. Join us in discovering the special features of this expensive war machine. Compare. It is not by chance that the United States is currently the most powerful country in the world. 1 in 4 aircraft carriers in the world belongs to the United States, and their total deck space is more than twice that of all other nations combined. This fleet is led by 13 supercarriers, each a gigantic multi-billion-dollar beast. Nevertheless, there are still some other countries striving to surpass the United States in aircraft carrier capability. First is Brazil's Atlantico. This ship weighs 21,500 tons, has a speed of 18 knots, and can carry 18 aircraft. Originally built in the United Kingdom to serve the Royal Navy as a helicopter landing ship, Atlantico was acquired by Brazil in 1998. This ship is equipped with 16 guns, has a range of 8,000 miles, and can carry 830 troops. Next is Thailand's HDMS Chakri Narabet. Weighing 11,486 tons, with a speed of 25.5 knots and the ability to carry 22 aircraft, this is Thailand's first and only aircraft carrier. It is also the smallest operational aircraft carrier in the world. This ship has a range of 12,000 miles, can carry up to 675 troops, and is equipped with 2 machine guns and 3 missile launchers. Spain owns the Juan Carlos I, a multipurpose amphibious assault ship weighing 26,000 tons and capable of carrying 30 aircraft. This ship is equipped with a ski jump to launch aircraft such as the McDonnell Douglas AV-8B Harrier II and Boeing CH-47 Chinook. Juan Carlos I has a range of up to 10,000 miles and can carry a maximum of 913 troops. Japan has 2 helicopter carriers, Izumo and Kaga, each weighing 26,000 tons and capable of carrying 28 aircraft. Both ships are equipped with at least 12 F-35Bs and various other aircraft. Each ship costs $1 billion. Italy has 2 aircraft carriers of almost the same class but different generations. Giuseppe Garibaldi weighs 14,000 tons, has a speed of 30 knots, and can carry 18 aircraft. Cavour, Italy's second aircraft carrier, weighs 33,000 tons, has a speed of 29 knots, and can carry 30 aircraft. This ship can transport up to 450 troops and is equipped with up to 11 guns and launchers. South Korea is currently developing its first aircraft carrier, Chevron, weighing 45,000 tons and capable of carrying 20 aircraft. Expected to be operational by 2033, this ship costs $1.8 billion and will carry up to 20 F-35Bs. India has 2 aircraft carriers, INS Vikrant and INS Vikramaditya, each weighing 45,000 tons and capable of carrying 36 aircraft. The total cost for both ships is $5.2 billion. INS Vikrant is the first aircraft carrier built in India. France owns the aircraft carrier FS Charles de Gaulle, weighing 42,500 tons and capable of carrying 40 aircraft. This is France's first nuclear-powered aircraft carrier and has a maximum speed of 27 knots. China has 3 aircraft carriers, with Liaoning and Shandong ** being the 2 most prominent. Liaoning weighs 61,000 tons and can carry 40 aircraft, while Shandong weighs 70,000 tons and can carry 44 aircraft. Russia owns the Admiral Kuznetsov, weighing 58,000 tons and capable of carrying 30 aircraft. This ship has a maximum speed of 29 knots and uses a ski jump to launch aircraft. China's Fujian, weighing 80,000 tons, is the country's largest and most advanced conventionally powered aircraft carrier. This ship is equipped with an electromagnetic launch system and arresting gear. The United Kingdom has two aircraft carriers, HMS Queen Elizabeth and HMS Prince of Wales, each weighing 65,000 tons and capable of carrying 65 aircraft. The total cost for both ships is $9.4 billion. Finally, the United States owns the most powerful class of aircraft carriers in history, the Ford class. Weighing 100,000 tons and capable of carrying 75 aircraft, each aircraft carrier in this class costs a staggering $13 billion. Explore the U.S. Navy's super aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford. The USS Gerald R. Ford is the first Ford-class nuclear-powered aircraft carrier of the U.S. Navy. This gigantic carrier was delivered on May 31, 2017, before officially entering service 2 months later. Ford is a modern carrier class that can launch 25% more aircraft daily and requires 25% fewer sailors compared to the Nimitz-class carriers. According to a U.S. Department of Defense calculation, Ford's operating costs over its 50-year service life will be $4 billion lower than its predecessors. As America's largest aircraft carrier, Gerald R. Ford is 333 m long, 77 m wide, displaces 100,000 tons, with a 76 m high control tower. With two A-1B nuclear reactors as its heart, this carrier has an average speed of 56 km per hour, unlimited range, and can carry a crew of 4,600 people. With its enormous size, Ford can carry up to 90 military aircraft of various types, along with a weapon system including two RIM 162 surface-to-air missile launchers, two RIM 116 close-in missile launchers, three Phalanx CIWS automatic guns, and four M2 12.7mm machine guns. 4 electronic warfare systems. Ford is equipped with two advanced and /Spy 3 and /Spy 4 multifunction active electronically scanned array radars. Having passed the SOAR test, focusing on machine gun and missile systems, Ford will conduct tests on its electronic aircraft launch system in the near future. The Navy's most modern fighters, the F-35C Lightning II and F divided by a -18E Super Hornet, will be chosen for permanent duty on the ship. After many delays and production costs reaching $13 billion, along with $4.7 billion in research costs, USS Gerald R. Ford is finally ready for duty by the end of the year. Military experts assess that USS Gerald R. Ford has gone through a long and difficult development process, but now U.S. Navy members can breathe a sigh of relief. Maintaining a fleet of 11 aircraft carriers is crucial in demonstrating influence on the international stage. A USS Gerald R. Ford is a masterpiece of the defense industry in an increasingly complex security context, has said Rear Admiral James Downey, the Navy's executive officer for the aircraft carrier program. Game changer for the U.S. Navy. With the Gerald Ford-class aircraft carriers, the U.S. Navy is preparing for potential future naval conflicts and replacing the outdated Enterprise and Nimitz-class carriers. They have 5 superior features. The cost for each Ford-class ship is enormous, $13 billion per vessel. But that's nothing compared to the overall program cost. To become a game changer for the U.S. Navy, the Gerald Ford-class ships have been designed with 5 superior features. Aircraft sortirate. Essentially, an aircraft carrier's effectiveness relates to how many flights can depart from this vessel. The U.S. Navy even has a metric to measure exactly how many flights take off from their carriers, the sortie generation rate. The Ford class is expected to allow 160 sorties per day, increasing the SGR by 33% compared to the current Nimitz class. This SGR increase is mainly due to Ford's new launch and recovery technology, as well as its corresponding electromagnetic aircraft launch systems and advanced arresting gear. Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System. EMALS will replace the traditional steam piston catapults used on older carriers, including the Nimitz and Enterprise-class carriers. EMALS uses a linear induction motor, using electric current to create a magnetic field to glide the aircraft frame along the rail. EMALS can accelerate aircraft more smoothly than steam catapults, while being less costly, lighter, and requiring less maintenance. Advanced Arresting Gear. AAG will replace the 7 Malawian Quachas hydraulic arresting equipment on previous carriers. AAG is designed to accommodate more types of aircraft than 7 Malawian Quachas, while requiring less manpower and maintenance. AEG uses a rotary engine and energy-absorbing water turbine, simply combined with a large induction motor to provide good control of arresting forces. Reduced manpower requirements. The older Nimitz-class carriers have a sophisticated weapons system that requires 5,000 sailors to operate, which is not a small cost. Therefore, in an effort to reduce operating costs, the new Ford-class carriers are designed to run with automated technologies instead of sailors. As a result, the Ford class significantly reduces personnel requirements, needing less than 1,100 sailors to operate Ford compared to Nimitz, which will save costs in the long run for the U.S. Navy. Reduced maintenance costs. The reactors are designed with a simpler format. The radar system is designed to operate less erratically. In general, Ford will require significantly less maintenance throughout its 50-year lifespan. The U.S. Navy estimates that Ford will save $4 billion in service costs throughout half a century of operation at sea. Ready to perform combat missions. The aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford is expected to continue sea trials this April in preparation for its first deployment mission later this year. According to Rear Admiral John Meyer, commander of the U.S. Naval Air Force Atlantic, USS Gerald R. Ford's first mission is relatively special. This aircraft carrier will be deployed to test its features in real conditions and familiarize itself with combat operations directed by the U.S. Navy, rather than being under the management of regional combat commanders as in typical carrier deployments. Construction of the USS Gerald R. Ford began in 2009. Due to difficulties in the manufacturing process, it wasn't until 2017 that USS Gerald R. Ford was delivered to the U.S. Navy. However, the U.S. Navy couldn't put this aircraft carrier into operation immediately after receiving it due to a series of issues related to the reliability of many new technologies equipped on the ship. As the first advanced aircraft carrier class for the U.S. Navy in decades, the Ford-class carrier incorporates a series of new technologies. Specifically, the ship is equipped with an advanced dual-band radar system, electromagnetic launch system, advanced weapons elevators, advanced arresting gear, and many other devices. According to the project description, the new technologies will allow Ford-class carriers to deploy more aircraft and have higher combat effectiveness compared to Nimitz-class carriers. This will contribute to enhancing the U.S. Navy's combat capabilities. However, in reality, new technology always comes with risks. Integrating too many new devices has caused the Ford-class carriers, specifically USS Gerald R. Ford, to face a series of technical issues. The most common fault is related to the advanced weapons elevators, which are used to transfer missiles and bombs from inside the ship to the deck. 4 USS Gerald R. Ford AWE malfunctions directly affect the ship's combat capability. The issues with AWE were only resolved late last year. USS Gerald R. Ford will be deployed for the first time at the end of this year, 4 years later than planned. USS Gerald R. Ford is the first of the Ford-class aircraft carriers. This carrier class will replace the currently operating Nimitz-class carriers. According to the U.S. Congressional Research Service, at $13.3 billion, USS Gerald R. Ford has become the most expensive ship in the world. This cost does not include the budget for more than 70 aircraft of various types that this aircraft carrier will carry, nor the accompanying escort fleet. The USS Gerald R. Ford can carry about 40 to 50 F divided by -18E divided by F Super Hornet and F-35 Joint Strike Fighters, 5 EA-18G Growler electronic warfare aircraft, 19 MH-60 Seahawk helicopters, 4 E-2D Hawkeye airborne early warning aircraft, and 2 MV-22B Osprey transport aircraft. While on mission, the USS Gerald R. Ford is escorted by guided missile cruisers, destroyers, nuclear-powered attack submarines, and logistics ships. The first mission of the USS Gerald R. Ford is relatively special. Navy Times, citing information from the U.S. Navy, reports that the USS Gerald R. Ford recently completed its aircraft carrier deck certification test. F divided by -18E divided by F Super Hornets, E-2D Hawkeyes, and MH-60S helicopters completed over 400 takeoffs and landings, both day and night, during this process. The USS Gerald R. Ford is expected to continue sea trials this April in preparation for its first deployment mission later this year. According to Rear Admiral John Meyer, commander of the U.S. Naval Air Force Atlantic, USS Gerald R. Ford's first mission is relatively special. This aircraft carrier will be deployed to test its features in real conditions and familiarize itself with combat operations directed by the U.S. Navy, rather than being under the management of regional combat commanders as in typical carrier deployments. Ford-class aircraft carriers incorporate a series of new technologies. Construction of the USS Gerald R. Ford began in 2009. Due to difficulties in the manufacturing process, it wasn't until 2017 that USS Gerald R. Ford was delivered to the U.S. Navy. However, the U.S. Navy couldn't put this aircraft carrier into operation immediately after receiving it due to a series of issues related to the reliability of many new technologies equipped on the ship. As the first advanced aircraft carrier class for the U.S. Navy in decades, the Ford-class carrier incorporates a series of new technologies. Specifically, the ship is equipped with an advanced dual-band radar system, electromagnetic launch system, advanced weapons elevators, advanced arresting gear, and many other devices. According to the project description, the new technologies will allow Ford-class carriers to deploy more aircraft and have higher combat effectiveness compared to Nimitz-class carriers. This will contribute to enhancing the U.S. Navy's combat capabilities. However, in reality, new technology always comes with risks. Integrating too many new devices has caused the Ford-class carriers, specifically USS Gerald R. Ford, to face a series of technical issues. The most common fault is related to the Advanced Weapons Elevators, AWE, which are used to transfer missiles and bombs from inside the ship to the deck. 4 USS Gerald R. Ford AWE malfunctions directly affect the ship's combat capability. The issues with AWE were only resolved late last year. Observers note that the USS Gerald R. Ford's readiness for combat missions is seen as good news for the U.S. Navy, as plans to deploy this aircraft carrier have been continuously disrupted over the past 4+ years. Thus, we have together explored the U.S. Navy's $100 billion supership, a marvel of modern military technology. From its advanced design to superior combat capabilities,